Alright, I'm recording this after yapping for like an hour and a half about this game because things got really just jumbled up and there was absolutely no structure to this video whatsoever. So for the too long didn't watch, I think this game is incredible. It is easily my favorite game on Roblox, period, hands down, etc, etc. I think it's worth the $30. I would recommend it if you have that money around and you're comfortable spending that. Because yeah, like this game is really special. And it's one of the first is the first Roblox game to genuinely make me emotional. Like I was actually crying near the end of it. And, you know, I'm not sure what that says coming from a guy that cried multiple times over an anime about alcoholic lesbians. I mean, it was a good anime. I can't lie, it was a great anime. Yeah, game was great. I definitely did have my issues with it. There were definitely issues with the game, and this video will go over all of that stuff, addressing many elephants in the room that have been addressed a million times already, but here I am, adding on to the fire. But yeah, enjoy this video, grab a meal, grab something to eat, because this is a long one. You can tell I really love this game because my god, I did not think I was gonna yap. I had my notes and there were like, kinda like 20 little notes to keep things track of, and then I expanded on those notes like by tenfold. So yeah, this video is a mess. I'm so sorry about this, but yeah, back to the past. Alright, here we are. We're doing another one of these stupid things. I enjoy doing them though. Welcome to another yap session, aka the worst resource for quote-unquote Roblox game reviews. This time around it's a pretty hot topic. I think I know what everybody and their grandmother wants to know because it's the only thing that people are really talking about this game. I say only thing as an over-exaggeration. There's obviously a lot more, and we'll get into the other things, but, you know, let's talk about the old $30 price tag. So, yeah, me personally, I enjoyed the game. I thought it was well worth my time, well worth my money. I would highly recommend it to anybody that does have that money to spend and feels comfortable spending that money, because you know it's 2026. You know, life is it's not that easy anymore nowadays, ain't it, folks? But you know, spending $30 on a Roblox game doesn't sound like the wisest decision. I definitely do understand that. I always think just like bring up the price is a funny thing though, because like yes, there are games out there that people can argue are better experiences that end up being cheaper than this game, and then you know it's like, oh, why should I buy this game when I could buy something like Deltarune? It's only $5 less and blah blah blah. You can go on Steam and yada yada yada. Like, you know, same discussion, you've probably heard a million times already. But really, I don't know, I really don't want to yap too much about the price tag because I feel like it is very much just opinionated. Is that even a word? I don't know. If you want to pay for the game, go ahead. No one should tell you what you do with your money. You know, if you want to pay for the game, if you want to play the game, check it out. And if you don't want to pay for the game, then don't. You're on Roblox. There's so many little experiences. I unironically just said experiences. There's so many little games that you can be playing completely for free. And you know, like, no one's telling you to play this game. You don't have to spend $30 on it, but I can understand, you know, seeing a game that's $30 thinking, oh my god, that's outrageous for a Roblox game. What are they thinking? And it's just a shame because there definitely are a lot of people that look at this and just see a $30 price tag, hop into the game, and immediately slap it with a dislike. You know, let's not lie to ourselves. That is probably where a good amount of this like to dislike ratio comes from, is people just not wanting to spend Robux, not wanting to spend money on a game, on a platform that's been pretty much notoriously known for just giving you a bunch of great games for free, but also infamously known for having absolute dog-ass brain rot slop all over the front page, and games that were made in like 1 week that make $1 million a year or whatever, you know, games that are ruining the children, ruining their brains, ruining the internet. Like, so not everybody has the greatest image of Roblox in their brain. So you see $30 and think, wow, why would anyone in their right mind pay for that? And I do think it's funny too, because like they advertise here, play the free demo, chapter 0, 1, and 2, 35% of this $30 game for free. And it's like, I don't know if that's really a good advertisement to me personally, because it's like, they're telling you you're paying $30 for 65% of the game. And it's something you gotta kind of think about when you're pricing a game. You're not paying $30 for the full package of the Grand Eggspress. You're paying $30 for chapters 3 and beyond and all that little bonus content, which is technically, you know, chapters 3 to 6, that's only like 4 chapters, but with the bonus content, it's kind of like 5 chapters of content. But as they say there, again, 35% of the game you can play completely for free, and then you're having to spend $30 for the rest of that. And I know that's just kind of how demos work. Obviously, you get to play a little bit of the game, but usually sometimes you have like a specifically crafted thing for the demo that isn't really in the game, or they give you a much smaller taste of the game for free rather than like chapter 0, 1, and 2. Most people probably would just be like, hey, here's Comet Point, here's the introduction of the game, and that would probably be it. Maybe chapter 1 if they're being a little generous, but that is definitely something to consider when pricing a game. Because I personally believe the full package is worth $30. Obviously not everyone's going to feel the same about that, but when you think of it as $30 for the rest of the game and like 4 to 5 chapters worth of content basically, it does feel less worth the money because you're not paying $30 for the full game. I feel like I'm repeating myself a lot here, but like, I don't know, it's a very unique situation, you know, like there hasn't been a Roblox game to really try this before, and it's a shame it had to be something like this that was meant to be like a little love letter to the community and to Acons and all that, and then, oh boy, you know, but I don't know. And that's the thing, like, it was already taking quite a big gamble to release this game and make it cost like real money, and especially a good chunk of money. If it were me, I would have just doubled down on the gambling and I would have made the game $10. Because in case you didn't know, there's actually only 3 options that you can go for when you make a game paid for real money. I don't know why Roblox has it set up that way. Does not make any sense to me why it's so limited, but whatever. The options that you are given is $10, which gives you 50% of the revenue, so $5 actually goes to the devs. $30, which gives you 60% of the revenue, which gives you $18, and that's what Eggspress gets. And then $50, which gives you 70%, which I believe was... So that's $35 if the game was $50. Now, if this game was $50, I'm going to be completely blunt, especially because I went and bought the game during Kickstarter. I don't know if I would have bought the game for $50, I'm going to be real. Like, this game would need at least 2 years of development time or something if it was $50. But yeah, there's only 3 options. $10, $30, and $50, and they all have different percentage cuts because Roblox loves making things unnecessarily complicated. But yeah, I would have doubled down on the gambling of this game's released, and I would have just made the game $10. Because I'm going to do a little bit of math here, a little bit of some really simple math that I don't even know if it matters, or if it, I'm not good with numbers, but if you get 3 sales, 3 $10 sales, which would then end up being $30, you would get $15 from those 3 $10 sales rather than the $18 from that one $30 sale. So there is a $3 loss there, which of course, you know, that really doesn't sound like that big of a loss. Oh, $3, what can that get you in this day and age? Unfortunately, not a lot. You can't even get a cheeseburger for that much money nowadays. And of course, those numbers will add up. It'll be $3 or $30, 300, 3,000. It does add up. I get that. And of course, if you get 4 sales with the game being $10, then you've made $20, which is more than the one $30 sale. But of course, if you get 4 sales of $30, obviously that's going to be a hell of a lot more than $20 from getting 4 $30 sales. But is this making sense to anybody? There's a lot of numbers I'm throwing around here. But I genuinely think, I think it would have worked out better if the game was $10. Because when I think of a $10 video game, I have no expectations for that. It's a $10 video game. What am I going to find in a game that's worth $10? A game that's worth about the price of a pizza. So I think it honestly would have helped somewhat to kind of lower people's expectations, especially when the game came out and ended up being pretty buggy. And, we'll get into that, of course, because that's the other elephant in the room. But I do think with the game being $10, I feel like with every one sale that the $30 price point would have gotten, I genuinely do think they would have gotten 4 sales with the $10 price point, because that's just a lot more manageable. And especially once again in this day and age, people are a lot more paranoid and afraid to spend so much money on something, especially an uncertainty like a Roblox game. And of course, big thing with Roblox, majority of Roblox are children, and what do children not have a whole lot of? Money. And especially their parents not wanting to give them a lot of money, So that is another thing. I know Roblox always wants to go on about how a lot of their audience is over the age of 18. I don't know who they keep trying to fool with that. That is absolutely not the case, because if that was the case, let me tell you, the top games page would not look like how it does today. But yeah, when you have the game cost $30, you are definitely locking out a lot of the majority of Roblox's young audience, because $30 is a lot of money for a Roblox game. A Roblox game that really doesn't have the best reputation right now, and hasn't had the best reputation for years now. So there's going to be a lot of kids asking their parents, can I spend $30 on a Roblox game? And they're going to think they're insane. They're going to think that some adult is trying to pray them into this game, get money out of them, and then do something horrible. That honestly, that is how a lot of parents would probably react to hearing a $30 Roblox game. So I don't know. It's a really confusing thing, because there just has not been another game that has done this. So it's really hard to kind of talk about this, to think what would be the right way. Is there even a right way? Is this all just subjective? Technically it is subjective, yes, but I don't know. That's my personal thought. I think the game should have been $10, because either way, I'm going to be real. As much as I love this game, as much as I would love to see it succeed, I just don't think this game would have done well regardless. I don't know. Because, there has been people that have tried this before. Egg Hunt 2022 Lost in Time is a great example of this. And this game had, honestly, a ton of hype around it. A ton of people were genuinely excited for this game. It looked like it was going to do very well. And it came out, people were liking it. I mean, look at that like to dislike ratio, only 84%. And this game was completely free, but obviously there are some differences here. For example, none of these eggs you could actually collect for your avatar. You could wear them in-game, but it didn't really go anywhere. They never uploaded the eggs on the catalog. Maybe it was too expensive back then, because UGC was a bit of a mess in the earlier days. Yeah, this game could have easily been what people have been asking for so long. It was free, it had a ton of eggs, it had good quality to it, even if it did wear its inspiration very much on its sleeve. I mean, I could say the same thing about Egg Hunt 2026 and its Mario Odyssey inspirations. I don't think there's really anything wrong with that, but this game almost immediately fell off after a couple weeks, and nobody was really talking about it, and nobody really cared that much about the second world. And then, with that, the game kind of just died. Development stopped. Didn't really seem like there was much of a point in continuing it, because, where would it really go from there? And that's kind of the awkward thing about trying to make events that, obviously aren't events, is you just can't get that broad appeal that a real event has by giving away things for free. Because it's really hard to give away so much for free, because it's not free to do that. It's very expensive to do that. For Roblox, it's not nearly as expensive. I mean, sure, there's still a budget that needs to go into the game, but, when it comes to actually hosting the prizes and whatnot, for them, it's basically just a simple little switch. They don't need to worry about stock. They don't need to worry about anything like that. The item is attached to a badge, and you get it for free, and you don't gotta worry about it. But you're not allowed to do that on Roblox. When are they gonna let people do that and have, like, a timed option for sales rather than a stock option? Who knows? I don't know why it's taking them so long, but probably they need to figure out a good price point for that stuff. But yeah, it is funny that people always say, oh, we want ACONs back, we want events back, we want this, we want that. It was never really about events or ACONs or anything like that. Because really all people want is they want free stuff. That's all they want. They want free stuff, and they want the free stuff to be cool. But it's, as I previously mentioned, and as I have already been yapping for like 20 minutes about, making free stuff that's actually cool is really expensive. Yeah, I don't know. I think that's enough yapping about the price, all that stuff. I mean, I still think personally that the game is great. Like, I genuinely do think the game was worth its money, in my personal opinion. I enjoyed it. I had a great time with it. But genuinely, I think this game is great. I think it's great. I think it's worth the money. Obviously, not everyone's going to agree with that, but I don't know. Yeah, I guess we can talk about the bugs now. And yeah, finally, once the game did come out and everybody still up in arms about it costing $30, yeah, it released in a very not so great state. It was pretty much unplayable, and by pretty much I mean literally it was unplayable. But I don't know, I didn't really care that much. To me, it was just like, oh, okay, I guess the game's got delayed again. It wasn't really that big of a deal. I moved on with my life, and then I just ended up playing the game the next day after hearing everything that was going on. It's like, oh well, I'll just check it out later. And it is kind of funny, because if you go to that same page that I was showing you, where it shows you like the pricing of games in real money, you scroll all the way down to the bottom, it mentions policies. And one of the policies is that your game needs to run properly and be playable in order to be paid in a local currency. So that is kind of funny how that ended up working out there. But yeah, the game was definitely very buggy. And but for the most part, I don't know, most of the bugs that I encountered, admittedly, again, I did start playing the game much later, most of the bugs were just simple soft locks, not really anything that seriously broke the game. You kind of just would leave, rejoin, and whoop-de-doo, everything's been fixed pretty much. Like that's usually how it went, is things would just get fixed after rejoining, and that was it, Now obviously there definitely were some bugs that were a bit frustrating more than others. I can definitely say that there were some bugs like that. Why can't I die? So yeah, but other than that, that one bug that I genuinely never encountered at like any other part of the game, I still don't know why that happened or how. I really just did not care that much about bugs. I don't know. That's kind of how I've always been when it comes to games, is I just, bugs happen, I get over it, move on with my life. They might be frustrating in the moment, but once they're dealt with, you move on, and I'm back to enjoying the game. It's just kind of like, it's all just temporary, really, That's all it really is to me. I don't know. And yeah, of course, as I mentioned before, with the price tag, that definitely didn't help people's view of the game, and how it's like, oh, I'm sitting here spending $30 for a game and I can't even play it. Like, I could definitely see people feeling like they got scammed or whatever, even though the game did come out and it was playable. Like, they did fix the major game-breaking bugs pretty shortly after. Like, it was only an hour or two, and then people were actually able to play the game. So, I don't know. It's just one of those things where people are already frustrated about one thing, and then all these little small things keep getting added on top of it, and you know, those small things end up being way more frustrating than they normally would have been, because they're already upset, they're already, you know, frustrated, and so now they're having to deal with something else, and it's like, you know, it doesn't really help people's image of the game or something. It's not like people were upset and then they went into the game and realized, oh my god, this is the greatest experience of my life. They went into the game and were visited with a completely unplayable experience, and couldn't really, and even if they did get into the game, they were met with many more bugs after that, many soft locks, and overall just not the most polished experience that you would kind of expect for a game that's charging $30 and trying to kind of fight the average experience on Roblox, which is normally free. So I don't know. And it's just another reason why I really think the game should have been $10, because it would have lowered people's expectations. It would have made the game more affordable, more welcoming. I don't know. Man, so much of this video has just been me yapping about the price and the bugs, because unfortunately that really is the main thing about this game's discussion, is those two things. And honestly, I can at least like, if you dislike the game and have like a little bit more of a valid reason as to doing so and provide criticism and whatnot, like that is always welcome. I don't think it's a bad thing to, you know, dislike a game and say that, hey, they shouldn't have done this or they shouldn't have done that. You know, because like, obviously not everyone is going to like a game, and especially in a situation like this. But it is a shame that there's so many people that just kind of dislike the game purely for the price point. And I know people will say, oh no, that's not the reason why it's getting so much hate, but it really is. It really, because that is the main discussion you see about the game, is the price point. And there definitely are more issues beyond the price point. Even someone like me who says this is my favorite game on Roblox, I have issues with this game as well. You know, it's not a perfect experience, I can admit that. But, I don't know. Obviously, one of those would be, one of those would be the loading issues and random lag spikes, because this game, I'm still not sure what is even causing the lag. I think they said it had something to do with the dialogue system. I don't know how that works, but yeah, this game had a really rough lag spikes. It still does, actually. I don't know if they've fixed that just yet, but you know, that was another thing. The lag spikes were definitely one of the bugs that are a little bit more frustrating, because it's not like a soft lock where you're kind of just like, you're not really doing anything, you're not like in the middle of anything, and it kind of like ruins the flow of gameplay or whatever. But like with the lag spikes, you could be doing some really difficult parkour or obstacle course, whatever, I don't know, and then the game lags and it's like, oh crap, and then it kills you. Or sometimes, let's say you have like a really bad device, and because the game is lagging so much, the game just crashes, or your computer crashes and stuff like that, and then it's like, wow, I can't even play the game because it's just randomly spiking with huge frame drops. You know, it's definitely not great. It is definitely not great. I don't really have... There's not much of an excuse for that one. There's not much of an argument to be made there. You know, the frame rate issues, Jesus Christ, they're not great. And honestly, I don't really have much to say about that or give criticism to, because I don't even know what caused it, because it has something to do with the dialogue, apparently. I don't know, but to me it feels like it was mainly the game constantly doing this, as you can see, this weird thing where it keeps like deloading it. Yeah, look, it frame drop right there. Whatever this thing is that it keeps doing, where it'll deload and reload the entire environment, and that causes these gigantic lag spikes, because, you know, it's loading in the whole environment and your camera's constantly moving around. So yeah, the frame rate is not great. I think literally only criticism I could give is, frankly, the game maybe should have not had whatever this like streamlined feature is where things are deloading. I'm not sure how many frames that thing really saves by having the game deload stuff that's not in view, but my god, it can't seriously be that much of a good... It can't seriously help the game that much when it ends up kind of causing the game to be 10 times laggier when it's doing what you don't want it to do. Because I feel like it would honestly just be a better experience having the game load in more normally, and then, you know, if the game's laggy, well damn. Like, I don't think this whole deloading thing would really save any of that, but what do I know? I don't know. The loading issues and frame rates aren't really my forte. I don't really know too much about that stuff or what to do about it, but I don't know. I think now this is where the video gets a little bit more original, perhaps. I don't know. So yeah, I think a big thing that a lot of games do nowadays is they release their game in parts rather than just dropping everything all at once. You know, you release games in like individual parts or chapters and like little story beats as their own drops, you know. And I think with Egg Hunt, there was a very obvious way of doing that, considering you have multiple chapters, and this game could have just released with chapters like at a time. Maybe not one chapter at a time or something like that, I don't know. But I think it definitely could have helped a little bit with the development cycle, had people just kind of, you know, you get focused on this one chapter and any bugs that pop up, you fix and clean up those bugs, and you don't really have to worry about people finding other bugs for other chapters because they can't even play those yet. And then you can also gather feedback from players. What do they like about this chapter? What do they not like about this chapter? And then maybe you can edit things around with the future chapters with the feedback that you got from the first chapter. But when you drop everything all at once, you're not really able to get that feedback. You're not able to kind of fix things as the game goes on, and you're just kind of left with everything having the same issues as every other chapter, instead of like the first chapter might have been a rough one, but as you continue with the game it gets better. But that's not really what happens here, because you still get a bunch of soft locks, you still get frame rate issues, you still get a bunch of other things. I don't know. And I understand, obviously, if you split up the game and put it into multiple parts and have to, you know, work on the game a lot longer, technically that would make the budget for the game end up being bigger instead of just working on the game for a year and boom, you're done. But, you know, I'm not saying that you need to work on each chapter for like a year. You could work on the chapter and finish it when you feel like it's finished, and work on the chapter at your own pace. You know, don't do too much crunching, don't set deadlines for yourself, don't do all this stuff that's never going to be good for any video game. And just, you know, just try to relax a little bit. I don't know. And then, of course, like when that first chapter comes out, again, you know, you can polish up that chapter and make it a great chapter, fix the bugs, you know, add in people's suggestions and stuff like that. And then you go and you start working on chapter 2, chapter 3, etc. Because that's what a lot of games do nowadays. And it is a very successful way of making a game, clearly, because so many people do it. And it kind of lets the game live on a lot longer. Because, you know, Eggspress, it came out and people beat it in like a day or two, and then that's it. The discussion clearly, you know, it's still there, it's still going. I mean, look at me, here I am, even though I'm very much late to all this. But if this game had like a longer life and was able to actually kind of breathe a bit and take time with each chapter and polish them up, you know, this game could have had potential. People could have been like crafting theories, they could have been trying to figure out, you know, where's the game gonna go, etc., etc. You know, basically just look at how Deltarune's doing their stuff right now, and everybody turning Gaster into so many different things. You know, like, I do think that would have been a big help for this game, is simply just splitting it up and not trying to put out an entire video game with 6 chapters and a bunch of bonus content and dumping that all together in under a year. Which, I mean, is an insane accomplishment, because what they did put out for that short development time is great. Was it buggy? Yes, it was pretty buggy. But I genuinely think it was a great little game. But I just don't think this was ever going to be sustainable. I don't think this was ever going to end up being something that could actually be produced annually. Because, I mean, you gotta think about some things. Like, look at Pokemon, for example. That is the biggest media franchise in the world, and they struggle to put out a Pokemon game every 3 years, and it's a buggy mess. The quality looks horrible, you know, and people don't really like Sword and Shield, Scarlet and Violet. Like, people can see the potential those games have, but they just were not given enough time. They were not given enough care. They had to abide by the strict schedule of everything needing to be 3 years. Everything needs to be rushed out, and just, you know, we gotta make a Pokemon game. There's always gotta be a new Pokemon game. And that is a huge AAA studio with a gigantic team of people and 3 years of development time, and even they weren't able to put out games of high quality after a while and just too much going on. Now, obviously, Pokemon is a much bigger game than Eggspress could probably ever become. I'm gonna be honest. I love this game, but you know, it's not a giant game like Pokemon or Mario Odyssey or the big AAAs. But the fact that even companies like that struggle to put games out on a consistent schedule is just like, I don't know. I don't think this game was ever really going to be sustainable. I don't think it was ever really going to end up in a position to where that would work. I don't know. I've been yapping for 40 minutes and I've been on like 2 topics basically. Yeah, I just think this game especially would have benefited if they just gave it more time. I think that really is the biggest thing, is it just needed more time. And I understand, like, there's a lot of more stuff going on behind the scenes with, like, marketing and whatnot. And if you delay one thing, you gotta delay 50 other things, and it's a goddamn mess. I get that. I understand all that. But I don't know. I really don't know. I think I'm done yapping about all that stuff, because I think I'm just kind of repeating myself at this point. But yeah, despite all of that, you know, not the greatest release. Price point, maybe not exactly worth, and all that stuff. I definitely still enjoyed my time with it, and you know, that's all that really matters is, hey, what's your opinion on the game? If you enjoyed the game, cool. I'm happy for you. You know? But anyway, let's get to the other things. Something I definitely really wish this game would let us do is I really wish when I traveled to a place, I could just skip the cutscenes. You know, I really wish I could skip these train cutscenes. I could understand, and I'm going to leave this completely unedited. I'm sure you've already seen these train cutscenes plenty of times, but, like, they're pretty long cutscenes, and you can't skip them. There's a cutscene when you depart to another chapter, and then there's a cutscene when you exit the train to actually get to the chapter. And I don't understand why this isn't skippable. Because you could say it's a loading thing, but there's clearly already loading screens in the game before and after the cutscenes play, so I don't really see why we can't skip them. I can understand something like, you know, for a little bit of a immersion or whatnot. You know, like, it feels like you're actually riding the train is actually traveling to where you're going, and it's not just you magically teleporting across the lands. Like, it's a lot more immersive, feels like the game actually makes sense. I understand all of that, and I can see the cutscenes not being skippable for the first time, but when you come here multiple times, especially when the game makes you backtrack to and go back to chapters to get other eggs that you weren't able to get because you didn't have the tools. And then also if you're like server hopping around a bunch of places trying to find people to get launcher eggs, it really does eat up a lot of time. Like I swear it takes up an entire minute having to sit through all of those cutscenes every single time that you're trying to go to another chapter. And then this one's a little bit of a smaller nitpick, but like when I'm going up to the door, clearly wanting to leave the train and go to the chapter, I kind of wish it would just throw me into the chapter instead of like, here you are back in the train, okay, now actually go out of the chapter. Like that one's a little bit of a small nitpick, but it is, I just think it's kind of funny because it's like the train boards the station and you clearly want to go to the chapter, but then you still have to actually get out of the train. I don't know. Oh yeah, kind of going back on the topic of optimization and frame rates and whatnot, is there any reason that these coins needed to be like actually 3D modeled? Because like most games, even things like Mario Odyssey and whatnot, like this would just be a flat cylindrical mesh with all the details baked in with normals. Like I can clearly see it's not the most high poly thing obviously, but did it need to be 3D modeled when there's like thousands of these things scattered across the entire map? I can tell that there's obviously quality differences as they get distant, but I'm gonna be real, these things do not need to be fully modeled in. Anyway, oh yeah, actually, back on the topic of the trains and pricing and whatnot, I know, welcome to Yap Sessions. There's no structure to this stuff at all. If the game was made $10 or even made free, I don't know, I think like a great way to have simple monetization for the game that won't feel like too annoying or frustrating, I don't know, would be giving people the ability to customize the game. And I mean in a little bit more of a way than how Egg Hunt 2018 kind of just had like random eggs or companions that would float by you or particle effects. Like, you know, taking Mario Odyssey as yet another example or yet another source of inspiration, because this game, you know, it's already pretty inspired by Mario Odyssey. Let's just use more of it. I think it would be great if you could actually like customize the train and you could customize Pip and a bunch of other things. And you know, a great way of doing that, again, kind of like Mario Odyssey, you have a certain dealer over here where you can open up his shop and you got a bunch of wares, and then of course you've got, I think it would be cool if you could buy like furniture and little decorations that you could put both inside and outside of the train to kind of, you know, to show your little journey and make the train kind of feel more like your train, you know? And then of course, like with Pip as well, you can customize Pip himself, you can customize the tools and everything. You know, because if there's one thing that does unironically help a game, it's giving that little personal touch to the game that kind of creates these extra memories, that lets the game last in your brain more or something. Instead of everyone kind of just having the same experience, you get to personalize the game in your own little way, you know. And I think a big thing that I think would be lovely to see, but I can understand a lot of this stuff would just kind of cost extra development time, which could be spent actually completing the game and stuff like that. It would be nice if you could take, you know, one of these empty cabins, because there's a good amount of these empty cabins. Actually, there's literally just one empty cabin, so I'm gonna assume this is meant to be ours or something. It'd be nice if you could actually customize your own cabin and make like your own little hangout spot. Again, you know, it's another small feature, kind of pointless. Does the game really need it? No. But, you know, it's just another way to kind of monetize the game, to add something, some form of replayability, some form of, you know, some extra use for coins. And of course, you know, with all these extra features, you could actually buy coins, you know, because maybe there'd be some absurd things. Like you could buy a golden Pip set, which turns Pip and all of your tools into golden tools and whatnot. And it's like 25,000 coins. Or you could buy a giant golden statue of all of the companions and put it front and center in the train. Just put a giant statue of everyone like right here in the center of the train, and maybe you can get like small statues of each individual character, and you can throw those around the train, or you can throw them in your little cabin. You know, stuff like that. It adds a nice personal touch to the game, and again, would be a great source of just adding some kind of monetization, because I understand 3D platformers do not do well on Roblox, despite the fact that this platform kind of was created off of like obbies and tycoons and all that stuff. Nobody really does platforms on here. It's really not that big of a thing. I'm not sure how we got to that, and I don't know why. It's just not a thing. Like, the best you see is like those difficulty chart obbies. That's kind of it. Like, it is a shame that games like these really don't pop up too often, and when they do, they're either like insanely underrated, or they get worked on and something pops up like every 3 years minimum, or the developers just abandon the project. It really is a shame, because like platformers, I was gonna say are one of, but platformer games are literally my favorite genre of games just ever. I love platformer games, and it's just a shame that there's not that many on Roblox. And every time that one releases, I swear there's always something that happens. Every goddamn time something happens. Usually it's just the game ends up dying, but man, why has there been controversy with a lot of these ones? Why? I ain't gonna name them all, but you know what games I'm talking about if you're into platformers like I am and also play Roblox. Why is there so much controversy around these things? I don't know, it's a shame. I have completely lost my train of thought. Right, yeah, customization. It definitely would be really nice to see more stuff like that. You know, just make the game feel a lot more personalized, because I know that's a big thing for people, is creating their own memories that no one else can really create, and having your own experience playing the game the way you want to, making things the way you like them. I think that would have been a nice little addition to the game, even if it would have ended up taking development time from the actual main game, and probably, I don't know, could have made the game worse for all I know. I don't know. And there's plenty of other things I could yap about. Like, it would be cool to see something like, you know, it'd be cool to see little enemies that are actually running around the map that you have to avoid and maybe fight or whatnot, kind of like most platformers have, actually. You know, like, add some bootleg Goombas, some bootleg Waddle Dees, I don't know. And just having, like, just little scribblos all over the place to kind of add more life to the area, to kind of just fill out the game more. I think it'd be nice. And then, of course, other things like mini bosses would be great, kind of maybe get you a little bit used to, like, the main boss at the end or something. I think that was something they were actually talking about. And then other things as well, like, it would be cool if you could upgrade Pip's tools, like the hammer could get like a shockwave effect added to it, and maybe you could bash through stronger obstacles. The bellows could give you like an air propulsion thing where you'll point the bellow downward and you'll like fly up in the air, and that makes you jump so much higher. But then you kind of have to build level design with that in mind, and then it kind of becomes a mess. I get that, but like, I don't know, there's so many little things that I definitely feel like this game could have done if it was able to, you know, unfortunately, if it was able to actually kind of perform well, because I'm pretty sure they were talking about there being like DLC, or there was going to be other things, like I think something about like there was going to be a conch shell and a sticky hand, like those are going to be new tools for Pip or something. I think that's what I was hearing. I don't know. It's clear that they wanted to do more with this game, and it really is a shame that this is probably just it. But I mean, for just it, this is still a great game. Once again, I feel like I need to keep saying that. Like, as much as I do have issues with the game, and I wish some things were different and some things didn't happen and whatnot, I still had a great experience, and this is my favorite game on Roblox, one of the best games on Roblox. You know, alright, what else now? I keep having to go back to my notepad to look at notes, because this is the least cohesive one of these yapping sessions I've ever done, because I just had a bunch of random thoughts that have like no correlation to each other at all. Oh yeah, that was another thing for monetization. They brought this up themselves multiple times as well, but it would have been cool to have like a donation board or something. And I think one way that would have been funny and maybe wouldn't have taken up too much development time is maybe old Stunkle Gran here would have the donation board, and you could pay him Robux and, you know, donate to the game. And I think another thing that would be really cool is if you actually get an egg for donating to the game. Maybe there'd be an egg for each chapter. I don't know if that would be a little too scummy to do that, but like the eggs would basically be like kind of like this, you know, you already have the egg unlocked. It's kind of just a free egg that you already collect. Maybe it would be along here in the special eggs. Yes, I don't have the launcher eggs. I just feel insanely awkward considering these aren't like random admins that have no idea who I am. I actually know a bunch of these people and they know me, and I feel really awkward being a grown-ass man hunting people down for an egg. I feel like I feel weird, so I just never bothered to do it. But anyway, yeah, it would be cool if you could like, if there was like a little donation board and you could get an egg if you donate to the game, and the donation would literally just be like, hey, if you like this egg, go and click purchase the egg, and that counts as a donation. It's like you already have the egg unlocked. It's not like a pay to win egg. You already have the egg, so you can just purchase it and technically get a free egg, even though it's not free, but you know what I mean. Maybe it could be like a little donation jar that's got the little egg coins in there, or maybe it could be unique to every single chapter. I don't know. But a donation board definitely would have been a pretty simple addition to the game, I feel like, but I don't know. And I'm sure people would have donated to the game, even if, like, you know, there already was the Kickstarter, so people kind of donated enough money. But the difference with the Kickstarter is that was real money that people were donating, and to a lot of people, myself included, you know, Robux is actually a lot easier of a thing to spend than money, especially when you have like DevX in consideration, because yeah, it's a lot cheaper to just do things in Robux than to actually pay things in money. Like for example, this game, if you were to buy this game for Robux, it costs unironically 6.767, which sounds like a lot of money, and to most people that is. I think that's like almost $70 or something. But if you're a developer, that much money is actually less than $30. So in the end, it would probably be a better purchase to go and buy something like that. And that's kind of what I mean. Like, you have a bunch of Robux left over, and it's like, oh, well, I'll just buy this with Robux rather than money. And then if you have Plus, it's even cheaper. I think it's like 5,000 Robux or something. But yeah, donation board kind of thing definitely would have been nice. And then you can have a leaderboard, because everybody loves leaderboards. You know, see how much people have donated, make fun of them, you know. But I think that'd be just a nice little thing to add on to the game. I feel like it's a little too late to add that now, and people would probably take it the wrong way and think it's scummy or whatever, because, oh, wasn't the game canceled? Why are you guys trying to take our money? So I don't know, I think it's a little too late to do something like that now, but it was definitely something. And on the topic of eggs, just go over my general thoughts of these. I'm not gonna say any personal or like pick out any specific eggs. I'm not trying to do stuff like that, you know, especially considering I've worked on the game, and I'm not trying to put anyone down or put anyone on a pedestal, you know. I'm honestly a huge fan of so many of these eggs, and I think it's great having a bunch of UGC creators get together and make so many different eggs with so many different designs and art styles. I know, like, there's definitely a complaint that it kind of makes the game feel very inconsistent, like, oh, the style doesn't really, I don't know. And like, I can kind of see where they're coming from. Like, yeah, you've got eggs of very different styles, and some people could see that as being like lazy or bad game design or whatever, bad art direction. But personally, I'm a big fan of it, actually. I like it a lot. I don't know, because it lets people kind of like there will always be someone's favorite egg, and there's always going to be someone's preferred art style, you know? Like, some people aren't going to be a fan of the more simplistic designs. Some people aren't going to be a fan of over-detailed designs. Some people aren't going to be fans of ones that are, like, realistic. Some people aren't going to be fans of the cartoony ones, you know? Everyone's got their own little preference when it comes to the art styles, so it's nice to have, like, a bunch of options for egg designs and not kind of just have one art style, and then if you don't like that art style, then you end up just not liking any of the eggs at all. And I don't know, and it's another thing I do like is getting all these people together and just kind of letting them express themselves and make like a little art piece, you know, because that's kind of what eggs are. They're not really much of a real prize. Most people don't really wear them. Eggs are just kind of trophies that you collect and they sit in your inventory. Even someone such as myself that makes plenty of eggs and made multiple eggs for this game as well, I don't really wear the eggs much. I know I was wearing the eggs for a little while, you know, kind of sort of as like a, well, not really promotion, but it just kind of, it's like wearing a costume for Halloween. I don't know, it's just to celebrate the occasion. But I don't wear my own eggs. I don't really do much with my own eggs at all. Like, and I'm a huge egg hunt nerd, and even I don't really care all that much for actually like wearing the eggs or doing anything with them. I just like them. I think they look cool. And that's a nice thing about this, is just letting people express themselves, and you can see everyone's own little personality and everyone's artistic decisions, and just, it's cool to see everybody be able to just be free and make something that they want to make and just have pretty much creative freedom with the design, and they're not having to make this and make it with the UGC marketplace in mind and have to like make it marketable, have to make it insanely wearable, and have to, you know, make 17 different recolors of the thing, you know. Like, it's really cool to just see people get together, express themselves, and have fun making these little works of art, these little trophies, and let everyone else enjoy them, you know. So I'm honestly a big fan of how the eggs were done with this game, and I genuinely think it's the best batch of eggs that an egg hunt has ever had. And I'm being very serious with that. I'm not saying that to be a bootlicker. I'm not saying that to be nice. I genuinely do think it's the best batch of eggs we've ever had. Because don't get me wrong, even Roblox's own egg hunts have had very inconsistent designs multiple times. Ironically, Egg Hunt 2018 is a great example of that, where some of the eggs genuinely just look like somebody took an egg model in Roblox Studio and then slapped Roblox accessories on top of it, and somehow that got approved and it wasn't like a mock-up design. And then don't even get me started on that burger. That's not an egg. Who greenlit that? Who approved of that? I don't know. Yeah, I think the eggs are great. I'm a big fan of them. I'm also a big fan of the backtracking. I know not a lot of people are into that, and they kind of find it to be like a scam. It's like, oh, I can play chapters 1 and 2 for free, but I can't even get this egg because it's not available unless I go to chapter 3. But from an actual game design standpoint and whatnot, I actually am a huge fan of backtracking. You know, it's nice when the game actually, where you don't just immediately move on and never visit a place again. You actually go back and you discover new things that you weren't able to experience before. And it's also fun when you're playing through the chapter and you see something that you don't understand and think, ooh, I wonder what that's going to be for in the future. You know, it's kind of like exciting. It builds up hype for what's to come and whatnot. I love backtracking. I love when games do that. I think it's great. I can understand the frustration, but I don't know. I like it. And honestly, I wish they did more of it. Because chapter 1 literally only has one backtracking egg, if I'm not mistaken. I think it's literally just a lantern. And it's like, but what about the drill? What about the ice picks? What about the bellows? Like, I wish they did more with it, to be honest. But, you know, I don't know. I think it's cool. And then there's these little special eggs, like the story eggs. I am glad that for the most part these have like unique designs and actually kind of stand out on their own. It's not like most things where it's just a really simple recolor, except for this would be the one egg the one egg where I'm gonna say something. I apologize, but I really wish the gilded Grand Eggspress egg did a little bit more than just be gold. I don't know, because like, you know, because from far away it's just a big golden blob. You know, you can't really, I mean, it doesn't help that hold on, there we go. Oh, okay, it took off my entire jacket too. Well, anyway, like, from far away it's just kind of a golden blob because everything is just entirely one color. That is something that I'm not the biggest fan of when it comes to things like this, when people do special designs with like a limited time or a limited copies of where it's just like, let's slap a gold texture on it and call it a day. And don't get me wrong, very nice gold. It's much better than people going into Substance Painter and just slapping the default HDRI gold onto a texture and calling it a day. You know, it's clearly a much more intentional gold, and hand painted, nice colors, looks great. Like, the gold looks great. It does. I just wish it was just a little bit more color variety. Like, it could be like some silver accents or something, or maybe take the red parts of the train and make them purple, kind of make it look something like the Century Egg or something to represent that. I don't know, I think that would be a funny little thing. Like, again, it's not horrible, I just wish there's a little bit more done to it. That's kind of why in my playthrough, when I got the golden train egg, I was a little bit disappointed because I actually like the normal one more. But with the prismatic Century Egg and the inverted omelet, I actually do quite like these because they don't feel like they didn't feel like an afterthought, which, again, sorry, that's a little rude, but it's like, it did kind of feel like they just didn't know what to do with this, and it's like, we'll just slap a golden texture on it. Again, even though the golden texture, like, it's a nice looking golden texture, you know, let me try. Whoa. Well, that was a new one. Anyway. You know, let me try to save my behind here and try not to sound like an ass, but, like, I don't know. Okay, yeah. Oh, this video has been so just random. I don't know. I just really wanted to yap about this game. I just wanted to yap about it, share a bunch of my random thoughts. I don't know how long this video is going to be. I have been yapping for over an hour now. I've got a few little notes left over. One thing... Oh yeah, boy, I really wish the character... Yeah, God, I really do not like this loading thing. Like, I'm sure it probably does help performance somewhat, but Jesus Christ, it is it's like, I've got good internet now. It's not like last year or even just a few months ago. Like, I've gotten to a new place. I've got good internet. The game just does not load sometimes. It's rough. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh yeah, I really wish the characters were more expressive. Now, don't get me wrong, the character designs and everything about that, like, their individual sprites are very expressive and they have strong character designs. I absolutely love the 2D sprites. I actually seriously prefer this over having 3D characters. Something about this just feels more Roblox to me than Roblox characters, and I don't know how to explain that. Like, when I see a game that uses Roblox characters as their main character designs, like, it kind of just feels cheap. Like, it feels lazy to me. I don't know, which is funny because you would think, oh yeah, 2D sprites, oh, that's even cheaper, that's even lazier. But like, you're having to actually create an original thing there. You're actually having to think about what to do with those characters. You're not just creating a Roblox dummy and slapping some clothes on top of it. And I really am a big fan of these 2D character sprites. I just wish, like, especially the main characters, I wish they were more expressive. That's kind of a thing that I really wish there was, because this game does actually take itself quite seriously. Wow, really? Who would have guessed? But, you know, and there are some moments where characters are displaying very, very different emotions from what their characters actually look like. Because, like, all these right here, all these icons, that's just what they look like all the time. Everyone pretty much has one sprite. The only people that have different sprites are Sulfurous and, for some reason, Pearson Blair. Don't get me wrong, I love Pearson Blair. I love the whole Team Rocket duo stuff. I love that little cliche, tropey character. It's great, one of my favorites. I love lovable idiots. But, like, why did they get multiple sprites? I love them, but, like, Pip didn't even get multiple sprites. He's basically the main character of the game. Sure, he's got a bunch of tools and whatnot, but he's got one expression pretty much throughout the entire game, and it's this weird expression where he's got his hat, like he's tipping his hat off to you with kind of like something of a smug expression, sort of, I don't know. It's like, it's a very weird expression, kind of having that throughout the whole game. I'm trying to find a character that has dialogue with Pip, but never mind. But, like, if you played the game, you know what I mean. Pretty much that one sprite is all there is of him. And it's kind of funny when there's moments where Pip is, like, really upset or is like trying to be serious, but he just kind of comes off as a snarky little dork because of his character sprite. And like there are so many NPCs in this game, and I mean, I love it. It makes the game, I'm gonna get away from that torch, it makes the game feel so much more full of life, and all the character designs are great. But I feel like you could have maybe cut down on some of the characters to further expand the main characters that you're actually going to see a lot more of and kind of need to take a little bit more seriously. Like, you don't need to do whole different poses and outfits and whatnot like with Sulfurous, but just having a simple facial expression change definitely could have helped with like a little bit of the immersion and made the game feel a lot less silly sometimes. Especially like when a character is trying to display emotion, they just have these like little emoji, like PNGs that just fly out of them, and it looks, I'm gonna be honest, it looks funny. Like a character will be crying and there's just little water droplets popping out of their head, and it kind of just gives the exact opposite effect. Like it's a little, it's a little goofy. I don't know. But like, do I think it's a major deal breaker? Like, do I think it seriously ruins the game and it shouldn't be worth $30 because the characters don't have like one or two more sprites? No, I really don't care that much. I'm gonna be honest. I'm just bringing it up because that's what yapping sessions are. I put down my thoughts and I yap about it. But anyway, another thing is, now this one I do kind of think could be a little bit more important. God, this game needs fast travel. Like it needs it. I'm gonna be honest. Because some of these maps they're huge, especially Chapter 5. Oh my god, Chapter 5 is so big. It is literally just a giant urban maze. You know, it's a giant city, and it's got multiple layers to it, and it is so difficult traversing through there. And I know, like, the game does provide you kind of, like, with its own little quick travel routes occasionally, but it would be nice to just like go into the notebook and open up a mini map or something and select like a few key checkpoints. Like there'd be the train checkpoint, there would be the research facility checkpoint, the village checkpoint, and just being able to like teleport over there. Because as much as I do love the platforming in this game, it is kind of annoying like when I'm just trying to leave a place and I have to like walk all the way over there. Even if there are some areas to kind of make that quicker, it would just be nice to go right to it. And an idea I had in mind was simply having a pip tool that you can use. I think that would be the most sensible option. And my idea was basically you complete chapter 1 and you save everyone from the thorns, you know, you fix up the village, and then they have like a little firework party or something. And then what you do is Pip will see those fireworks and think, ooh, I could do something with this, and then you get Rocket Pip. And Rocket Pip, basically, he'll just be attached to your back, and with Rocket Pip, you can open up the mini-map and then click any specific, like, important checkpoint. You know, like, I don't think we need to fast travel to every single checkpoint that's in the game, but like, main checkpoints, and being able to use the Pip rocket, and then you just, like, your character flies up in the air. You know, you fly up above the screen goes black, and then screen fades back in and your character falls down. Like, you know, kind of like a jetpack, but a little bit more fantastical or whatever. More of a fantasy thing where you're riding a little firework. I think that would have been a cool little addition. And also, you know, with that, having a mini-map would be really nice. It could kind of help you, like I don't think it should literally tell you where things are, but more so tell you what you haven't, or I mean, what you have found, and then kind of using that to be like, okay, I found a ton of stuff in this area, but I feel like this area of the minimap is really empty, so I think I should go explore over there. Like, it could kind of help with the exploration, because the game really doesn't help you at all when it comes to finding things. Like, it does not help you at all. Like, the actual UGC eggs can kind of help you because their designs might be tied to whatever their task is, but with the golden eggs, there is literally no help. If there's a golden egg that you don't know what it is, it's just blanked out question marks, and the only clue you have to go off of is golden eggs are set in an alphabetical order. That is the only clue that you have. And it would be really nice if there was like any actual clue on where eggs are. Not literally just telling you where things are, but just giving giving you a nudge in the right direction. I do think, however, though, like, let's say you have a majority of the eggs and you're missing like 1 or 2 of the special eggs or 1 or 2 of the golden eggs. You know, if there's like a specific amount of eggs that you're missing and it's a very small amount, maybe the game will kind of help you out a little bit more, so you're not just aimlessly wandering around these huge maps for like 1 or 2 eggs, spending hours, maybe not hours, but like half an hour, you know, like a long time trying to find 1 or 2 eggs. Maybe the game could see that you're struggling a bit and there's barely any eggs left, so it's like, oh, let's help them out a little bit. I don't know, that'd be nice. Because otherwise, I'm gonna be real, this whole book list, like, it's nice to have a checklist, it's nice to see everything in a little area, but it doesn't really have too much use other than just telling you what you've done. I think another thing that would be nice to have in a notebook, you could really go and put the controls in the notebook instead of having it in the corner here, because I do think it's funny to have a game just constantly have the controls on the screen at all times. Like, it looks a little silly, and it's kind of just a waste of UI space. Like, I would just put the book right there in the corner where all this UI is, and then you don't have a book just randomly floating off to the center on the right here. And hell, I think you can even get rid of the egg points here, because frankly, it kind of loses a lot of point in needing this. Like, especially if you're someone like me and you're kind of just going for almost 100% completion as you play, like, the egg points don't really matter. You're most likely going to have enough egg points to get to the train. But, like, you know, just opening up the book and going on the list, like, you can see 35 out of 35 eggs, the world currency, the coins. You know, it would be nice if it just showed you your egg points as well somewhere, maybe above the century egg, or maybe you just kind of squish these a little bit and throw that on the side. And then you would literally just have pretty much all of your UI shoved right into this book and right in the corner, and it would kind of make for a little bit of a cleaner experience. I don't know. As another thing with the eggs, this is extremely nitpicky, but I feel like this should kind of match the text over here. Maybe like have it be black and white or something, because it does look a little odd having like all those, there's like different color. There's not even like a stroke on it. It stands out in a weird kind of way. I don't know. Oh yeah, I think that's literally why I came into this chapter. Another thing is multiplayer eggs. I'm unironically surprised they went and added multiplayer eggs. Like, I don't think they're a bad thing. And I do think they're fun if you can actually manage to get people together to play this game, because, you know, price tag. But I really wish there weren't so many of them. Because, like, it's 2026, it's really hard to socialize with people and talk to others on Roblox nowadays, especially with all, like, the age gating and age verification and all this stuff. Like, it's a little annoying trying to cooperate with others, and there's multiple 2-player tasks and then even a couple 3-player tasks. But funnily enough, the 3-player tasks are, like, they're really simple. Like this one, for example, you just get 3 people to hit tentacles, and that's the whole task. You get the egg. And it's like, I feel like you could have just made that a lot simpler, but I feel like that didn't really need to be multiplayer. I don't know. Like, maybe it would be something where if you're a single player, you hit a tentacle, and then the tentacle flips the little iceberg that you're on, and you get chucked across the map or whatever, and you have to run back over there, you know. But that tentacle won't come back because it's been injured, and so you go and you hit the other tentacle, and then it'll fling you across the map. You gotta run back, hit the other tentacle, fling you across the map, and then you get the egg. Sounds a lot more tedious, I'm not gonna lie, but it feels more like an actually rewarding UGC egg rather than just getting 3 people to hit tentacles at the same time. And actually, that's another thing about the eggs. God, I've been yapping for so long. It is kind of funny how, like, inconsistent a lot of the eggs tasks are. Like, there's a lot of eggs that you get by pretty much doing nothing or just like progressing through the game and reaching a certain point. They give you an egg for free, and it's like, I wish there was a bit more consistency with the quests, because it does feel kind of weird when it's like, oh look, you reached the village, here's a free egg. I don't think they actually gave you a free egg for reaching the village, but like, In chapter 1, I think when you get to in chapter 1, there's a free egg when you like get past the first thorns or whatever, and you talk to that one butterfly guy, and he tells you to get a hammer or something. I don't know, and you just get an egg for reaching that point. Didn't really require hardly any effort at all, but you get a whole UGC egg for doing that. Meanwhile, there's plenty of golden eggs that require a ton of effort, way more effort than some of these eggs that have actual UGC behind them. And an obvious example would definitely be the mastery eggs, which are like harder bonus challenges. Most of them really aren't that hard though. There's like a few of them. And like I can understand the masteries admittedly, because they're kind of like these vague, like weird space areas that don't really have like a true theme to them. They're just kind of floating abstract area. So I could see that making egg designs for them would be a little confusing. But then again, we have a bunch of eggs that you just buy for coins in a shop, and eggs that you get by just visiting or reaching a location, eggs that just spawn around the map. So I think you could have just done more eggs like that, where it's just kind of like you get an egg based off the theming of the world, and then allow even more creative freedom and people to just make whatever by having eggs attached to the mastery that don't really need to have much of like a design rule to them. Like it's not tied to an extremely specific puzzle like conveyors, or it's not tied to a specific character or whatever. Like it's just a mastery ledge grab gambit. You grab ledges. That's the whole thing. I don't know. Just make something ice related. And actually speaking of ledge grabbing, I think this is pretty much the last point in my notes. I've been yapping for an hour and a half. Holy crap. Ledge grabbing in this game, as much as I love the controls, ledge grabbing is probably my least favorite part of this game. I'm gonna be real honest, folks. I don't like the ledge grabbing in this game. It's very inconsistent. It doesn't really feel all that good to use it. And honestly, most of the time, you don't even use it. Like a majority of the time, ledge grabbing is just kind of used in mastery challenges and pretty much nowhere else in the game. I don't know, like when you're playing through the game casually, I feel like you almost never use the ledge grabs. Like you very rarely ever use the ledge grabs. And it just kind of feels like a feature that they wanted to do more with but didn't really know what to do with it. And it's like they had it coded in, and it's like, all right, let's try to make something intentionally designed for these, but it's just kind of there as like a safety thing. Like, like if you do actually manage to pull it off, you can use the ledge grab and you can flick up things and whatnot, but I don't know. And it's funny too, because like you don't have a whole lot of control over the ledge grab either. You just kind of like you grab onto the ledge and your character immediately jumps out of it. Like it would be nice if you could actually kind of brace yourself and like slow down and not just immediately like, oh, I gotta get out of here. Yeah, the only time that the ledge grab like actually kind of works consistently is ironically with the walls that they were very much designed for ledge grabbing and pretty much nothing else. Because yeah, if you're not really using those ledge grabbing walls and you're just ledge grabbing on the other random things, it really does not work very well. I'm gonna be honest, it's very inconsistent. Most of the time it doesn't really do what you're wanting it to do, and most of the time you end up accidentally ledge grabbing onto things when you weren't trying to. It's like ledge grabbing kind of is just a thing that exists, and you only really use it in very forced scenarios. I don't know. Like, I don't think it makes the move set like any worse, because again, you literally don't use it, so I frankly don't really care that much about it. But like, I do wish there was a little bit more to do with it, but then again, I don't really know what that would be. It's kind of just like a little safety net, I guess. Like if you do manage to actually pull off the ledge grab, you can use it, but it's very hard to actually use it. And sometimes it feels like some objects just don't let you ledge grab at all. I don't know. It's a weird little mechanic. I do like that it's there because sometimes it does actually help you out, but most of the time it just kind of feels like it didn't need to be there. I don't know. I don't think it's really that big of a deal though. It's just, once again, yapping about random things. And I think for the most part, I should be done yapping now because Jesus Christ, it's been an hour and a half. I need to shut the hell up. I don't know if this video is... I don't know if anyone's going to even be watching this. I don't know if anyone cares about any of this stuff. I'm just saying random things. I don't really feel like it matters to be really talking about it. It's interesting making a video like this on a game that's pretty much been confirmed to just be shelved. I don't know. The future's never set in stone, and for all we know, maybe they decide to give this shot some other day. Maybe they'll try it again. I don't know. I don't think this will really be the last time that we ever see egg hunts. I'm sure someone will take on the challenge once again and try to get people to take Roblox seriously and create something special. But if people wanna I don't know. I don't know what this video is. I feel like this is very different from most of my Yap sessions because most of them end up being really negative. And don't get me wrong, I definitely did have my complaints with this game, but for the most part, it was just a fun game. I did enjoy it. I had my issues with it, but for the most part, I enjoyed it. The soundtrack is incredible, the environments are great, the gameplay feels nice, again, other than the ledge grabbing, which is just kind of there. And the ending too. The ending was great. The boss fight was incredible. One of the best little experiences I've had on Roblox was that boss fight. The way that the music swells up, and it's honestly so much louder than everything else in the game, but that really just adds to the overwhelming fear of the boss. And a great soundtrack for that boss as well. And then getting the true ending and the song there, lovely little song, so nice. I don't know. It's definitely a shame that we probably aren't gonna see something like this again for a very long time. But, at least we got to experience this one time, At least we got to experience it once. Someone was able to get their dreams out there and make something that they really wanted to make. And, I think they really did make something to be proud of themselves of. What am I saying? I don't know. I think I totally forgot to talk about that Twitch ARG thing. I don't know. I'm not much of an ARG guy. I don't really care for that stuff. I'm not really all that interested. I don't really know what to even say about that one because I don't know what I would have done differently, to be honest. I don't know. It is a shame what happened to that and the harassment that people were receiving and all that stuff, but that is kind of what happens when you have such an unstable community like the Roblox community, and putting a $10,000 prize on the line, even though ironically I think a lot of people just wanted the egg actually, which is kind of funny. But I don't know. I hope things go well. I really do. I hope this isn't going to be the end of it all. I know that they're working on a Smash Brothers guy. I don't know if that's actually I think that was Koiverse. They're working on a Smash Brothers kind of game with other game IPs or something. I think that's something they're doing. I don't know. Yeah, I do think if we were to ever see another egg hunt, it's gonna be another long time. Who knows? It might be another 8 years, man. My God, it's been 8 years since Egg Hunt 2018. That really is crazy. I was 14 when that game came out, and I'm 23 now. I know that's a 9-year difference, but that's because I was 14. My birthday is after the Egg Hunt, so But yeah, I was 14 when that game came out, and I am 23 now. That is ridiculous to think about. And who knows? I might be in my 30s by the next time that we get another one of these things. But hopefully it's going to be sooner rather than later. But with how Roblox is as a platform and just how hard it is to really get people to take this platform seriously and try to get people that are really passionate about this. This really is a dream project kind of thing here. One of those things that you never would expect to actually come out. And then it did. It somehow did. And the community, made it happen. And then the community ended up being the thing that also tore itself to pieces. But, I'm just happy that it happened. Because I'm happy with the game. I'm satisfied. And that's all that really matters to me. Like, what do I care what other people think about this game? I had a fantastic time with it. Literally my favorite game on Roblox. So why should I care? Am I upset we're probably not going to see this stuff again for a very long time? Of course I'm upset about it. Because, again, I really enjoyed this. But, it is what it is. I'm glad I got to be a part of it. And, if you'll ever need somebody for anything else, I am always available. I'm always down for a good time. But anyway, I don't know what this video is. This feels so different compared to my normal yap sessions. But honestly, this just feels like a real yap session. This is like a podcast. This is more like a podcast than most of my yap sessions have been. I have just been saying things, and I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. But, yeah, I don't know. I think I'm kind of at the point where I don't know what else to talk about. I'm kind of just repeating myself. So I think with that, I should really just call this off already. Yeah, I will, I'll see you again, sometime next time. No idea, on this channel. I mean, it's not gonna be, this will probably be the last time you hear me talk about egg hunt. Maybe ever. I don't know, honestly. It depends on what happens. But, things will go back to normal now. Just back to the old creature capture grind that I'm sick of, to be honest. But hey, another thing I have to wait a very long time for. Maybe someday one of these damn games will actually release something. But, I say all this like I'm so upset about it and disappointed, and yet I'm still waiting for it. And I'll be so excited about it when it actually drops. But yeah, I think I'm gonna shut up now. I should have shut up probably an hour ago, and this video only needed to be like at least 30 minutes, at maximum 30 minutes, but I've been yapping for an hour and a half. Did anybody watch this video fully? If you did, my God, I am so sorry you had to listen to me for this long. Jesus Christ, I wouldn't wish that upon my worst enemy. But hey, if you like the video, don't like the video. I don't care about any of that stuff. What am I saying anymore? I need to stop. I need to stop talking. I need to end this video. I will see you again next time, sometime. I don't know. 37 years from now. Who knows? I'll be dead.